the invitation that God gives to the people that he made is so generous and came at such a high price to him.
A high price. He gave up a weekend.
He
gave up a weekend.
Right.
Well, guys, this is a wussgen. Not a Christian, a wussgen. Because this guy is totally beta with defending the faith against this, what you call it, a Satanist. I could barely even say the word. But yeah, gave up only a weekend. He gave up 33 years, his body, his life, his soul to save us. I mean, he was whipped, torn, dragged throughout the streets, plagued, and put on a pole for our sin. And also he was nailed, and none of this was brought up by this wussgen. Like, really, man, they got the most beta to defend us, to defend the faith. Like, geez.
I am a Presbyterian pastor.
I'm a Hindu.
I'm Muslim.
Hi, I'm Lois. I'm a Satanist.
These people really know how to pick them. All the people of faith are just like modest and kind of timid, while the Satanist just comes smiling and just bucking and just showing her cheese. Just like, damn, like, what did they get these people on opposite day? Like, this is a little weird.
When I think of Abrahamic faith, I think of slaughterings and burnings and mutilations, all in the name of God.
Why does this guy look like Sweeney Todd? Why does this guy look like a goth with a midlife crisis? I get that you're a Satanist, but do you have to dress in all black? And of course, he's feeding into the stereotype that black means demonic. Very progressive of you.
Hell is a real place.
Satanists, you know, hell being the devil's playground and all, like the main place where your supposed God that you worship is. And how come all the Satanists are on the left and all the people of faith are on the right? I mean, couldn't you just buck trends and just have faith on the left and Satanists on the right? I don't know.
Personally, I would never worship a God that would send someone to an eternal lake of fire to be burned forever for the simple fact of non-belief, when that deity knows what it would take to convince every single person on this planet. That is cruel, it is inhumane, it is not kind, it is not generous, and that is not a God worthy of worship.
To be fair, I feel like this presupposes that to burn in hell means that you don't believe in God. I'm sure that there are religions, and I know that there are people who believe that hell is a place for murderers, you know, and when
the ultimate accuser of the guilty is themselves. Wow, I love the whole idea of just being a Satanist. Like, oh man, I'm gonna throw a tantrum because God sends people to hell. God, what kind of God would send people to hell and be tortured forever? But I'm going to turn into a Satanist and support and condone the guy who tortures you forever, Satan. Like, what kind of logic is that? Kind of like a double standard, I think.
I don't even believe we have souls necessarily. I'd like to see some evidence before I believe something like that.
I barely believe that we're even conscious, let alone.
Well, she's a privileged fat white woman, so she's definitely not conscious. I'm just kidding. Her being a woman enough is proof she's not conscious. But to the guy, what do you mean you don't believe that we technically don't have souls? It's a black and white thing. Is that we have souls or we don't, buddy?
Like, I'm about to have an existential crisis up here.
I think the historical Christian position is that the gift of the invitation that God gives to the people that he made is so generous and came at such a high price to him.
A high price. He gave up a weekend.
Wow, they got the most soy boy beta cuck to be the Christian. Like, this is sad, man. What do you mean he gave up a weekend? He gave up 33 years, of just normal life, and he had a 3 years of ministry until he got crucified by the cross. He was tortured, beaten, dragged throughout the streets, hung, and then spit on, and then stabbed, and then he died. I mean, that's a little more than a weekend, buddy. And this little wussy couldn't even bring up this? Like, what?
I believe Satan is evil. Wait, why did you stop?
I was trying to play it out in my head, but then I realized I don't agree with that. And
Okay.
stuff, yeah.
Now, I was thinking to myself, I was going to judge this young man, but I have to ask myself, maybe Islamic Satan is not evil. Maybe it's like a standby, like something that's like outside the idea of morals. And the young lady, she's a Hindu. I don't think Hindu people have the whole concept of Satan. So, yeah.
To Genesis, okay? God wanted to keep humans from eating the fruit of knowledge, correct? And Satan, or the serpent, wanted to give humans that knowledge. I believe that's a good action.
That is a good action.
That's a good action. That's justifiable.
The first person to advocate for equal rights.
Yes. We only heard God's perspective, and from my perspective, I mean, just looking into the Bible, it's like we didn't hear Satan's perspective. Maybe he said, God is a tyrannical God, and I'm going to rebel from him, and I'm going to become a fallen angel to help mankind.
All right, let me get some corrections here. It wasn't knowledge. It was actually just forbidden fruit from the tree of good and evil. They could have taken from the tree of life or the tree of good and evil. If they took from the tree of life, they could have lived forever. But the tree of good and evil brought forth death to the world, and that's why humans die. So let's just get that one straight, and you're actually not equal to God if you die in physical flesh. You're actually farther away from where you started at. Duh.
Religion has caused more harm than good.
Religion has caused a lot of harm. Is it the ultimate source of evil? No. Ultimately, people make their own decisions, but we talk about crusades and witch trials and the God hates fags and the snake handlers and the hypocrites.
Persecution of.
All right, he said a lot. Okay, the Crusades happened because of interfaith warring, which both sides kind of started, where a lot of Moors invaded Europe and Europe invaded back. The whole witch hunts happened because believe the victim, men believed women back then. Let's see, what else did he say? The whole God hates fag movement is like a very small portion of some crazy fundamentalists. Let's see, I don't know what else to say. Hey.
I consider myself a good person.
I'm a great person.
Wow, I see ego is available and bountiful no matter what your belief system is.
Lois, why are you a Satanist?
Well, I'm a Satanist because I originally started out as an atheist, but I wanted to find more ways to do advocacy work within a separation of church and state. And also, I think Satan is pretty cool. Satan is kind of a daddy, so here I am today.
Well, to be fair, if my skin tanned red, I would think that Satan is a daddy too. I'm just kidding, but talk about the worst daddy issues you can find in a chick. Jesus.
In light of the coronavirus, we aren't doing handshakes or hugs or anything like that, but in your own way, express affection to each other as a group.
Oh yes, that one's a good one.
That's a very good one.
So this is the end of the video. I see that the weird guy, the golf guy, he was doing some type of Star Trek stuff. The guy with the long hair, he was doing the devil horns. The Muslim, he was putting his hands down. And the Hindu was doing like the prayer hands. Nice.